Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for July 18th. July 18th is the 199th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 200th day in leap years, with 166 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is a phrase, and it's fair to middling. Fair to middling, we often contract that to say fair to middlin'. Fair to middlin' is a descriptive phrase that means slightly above average. It's easier to see where fair to middlin' stands if you think about it in terms of a 5-point scale: fine, good, fair, middlin', and poor. This scale was used to score gradations of quality in cotton, sheep, and other farm goods. Merriam-Webster says fair to middlin' is just average. Not especially good, but I see it a little more positively than that. I see fair to middlin' as 1 or 2 clicks to the positive from dead middle, not bad. The term fair to middlin' originated in northern England and most likely made its way to the United States by way of cotton buyers, rating and grading the raw material. First known use of the term fair to middlin' is around 1820. Fair to middlin'. Fair to middlin' was suggested by YouTube viewer Rob KYLD. Thanks, Rob. And if you have a term you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll put it on the list. And with that, Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio was an Italian painter. He's known mononymously, though, simply as Caravaggio. He's particularly known for using strong contrast between light and dark, a technique known as chiaroscuro, a word that means light and dark. Caravaggio's work in particular made such use of dramatic use of light and dark that it's also referred to as tenebrism, from the Italian word tenebroso, which means dark and gloomy. Bonus word. You know you have some style when your name is used in describing things, and artists who were influenced by the works of Caravaggio, like Peter Paul Rubens, Gian Lorenzo Bernini, and Rembrandt, to name a few, came to be called the Caravaggisti, or Caravaggesques. Caravaggesques. They might also be called tenebrists or tenebrosi, after the dark tenebrist style. Born September 29, 1571 in Milan, which at that time was part of the Spanish Empire, his father and grandfather died on the same day in 1577, when he will have been about 5 or 6 years old. This left his mother to raise her 5 children in poverty. He began an apprenticeship with painter Simone Petruzano in 1584, when Caravaggio will have been about 12 or 13. Caravaggio's first known painting is of a boy peeling fruit, of which he painted several versions from about 1592 to 1593, when he will have been about 21, 22 years old. Over the next 18 years, he completed nearly 100 paintings that we know of. Now, in a perfect world, amazing artists experience only enough anguish to drive them to their art, and they live long, productive lives and are hailed by their contemporaries and all those who follow. Unfortunately, that was not the case with Caravaggio. He was a fractious fellow, unruly, hot-tempered, notorious for brawling, even in a time when that sort of thing was commonplace. Around 1590 to 1592, he will have been somewhere between 18 and 21 years of age. He actually killed someone. Whether accidentally or on purpose, he left town to escape prosecution. From there, his life consisted of getting into violent disputes with people, followed by police reports, court proceedings, and jail time, and painting. Then in 1606, he killed another man, perhaps unintentionally. He will have been about 34 or 35 when this happened, and for the next 4 years, he moved from one place to another, his behavior continuing to become more erratic and violent as he went, all the while continuing to make amazing and important paintings. We can see a self-portrait of sorts in his painting of David with the head of Goliath. That's Caravaggio's face on the giant's head. It's also one of the last paintings he completed, as it was on July 18, 1610, that Caravaggio died, reportedly of a fever. Much discussion has followed as to whether this fever was the result of illness, whether simple or complex, or as the result of an infection due to injury from a fight. Caravaggio was 38 at the time of his death. This is the birthday of singer-songwriter Ricky Skaggs, born July 18, 1954, in Cordell, Kentucky. His dad gave him a mandolin when he was 5, and he started playing then. He was performing on stage at age 6 and played on the Martha White Country Music TV show with Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs when he was 7. He wanted to audition for the Grand Ole Opry then, too, but he was too young just yet. In addition to the mandolin, he plays guitar, banjo, and fiddle, and also sings in the genre of bluegrass, country, gospel, and folk. This award-winning artist has released some 36 albums, 16 music videos, and 42 singles, 11 of those being #1 hits in the country genre. Happy birthday, Ricky Skaggs. We have a playlist of episodes for this day in history, as well as a playlist of single subjects called How About That? And words of the day in a playlist called There's a Word for That. I'll leave links to all of that for you. While I haven't really followed Ricky Skaggs much over the years, he certainly came to my attention when we talked about the song Go Rest High on That Mountain not too long ago, as he and Patty Loveless sang background vocals for Vince Gill on that one. So in recognition of Ricky Skaggs' birthday, I thought we'd take a look at one of his #1 hits, and it's I Wouldn't Change You If I Could. This is a sweet little country love song written by Paul Jones and Arthur Q. Smith. It was originally recorded by Jim Eanes in 1959. Ricky Skaggs recorded it for his 5th studio album, Highways and Heartaches, in 1982 and released as a single in January of 1983. I Wouldn't Change You If I Could by Ricky Skaggs. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.